One thing I get questioned about all the bloody time is, Kudou, why don't you do set reviews, and when will you start doing set reviews? The problem with doing set reviews is in order to do it, I have to go through and talk about each individual card and how I think everything comes together as a whole. This would lead to videos being an hour to an hour and a half, and even though I don't mind making those, nobody's going to sit through them. So here's my compromise. I'm going to do a set review for you today, and it's going to be on the new Devil Survivor 2 series. If this video gains in popularity and people are craving more Devil Survivor 2, I'll go through and I'll take 10 more cards and do another set review, like a follow-up video. If all of you seem to like this style of set review, then I'll move on from Devil Survivor 2 and I'll make a set review of something else doing the same thing, where I take 10 cards and if people like it, I'll do 10 more cards. After I talk about the 10 cards, I'll go over what I thought about the set as a whole. Deal? Okay, let's get started. Our first card will be a level 0 of the main character. As you can probably see, it's an assist character, and it's one of the super assists that gives its assist to all of your characters and not just the ones in front of it. This is already really good on its own, but its second effect brings something to the table that we haven't really seen yet. This guy's effect is long and wordy and seems kind of complicated, so I'll go ahead and spell it out for you. Every time one of your summoner characters, spoiler alert, that's like all of your characters, is reversed in battle, then you can put one card from the top of your deck under this card as a marker. Once this effect goes off 10 times and you get an 11th marker under it, then you can discard all 11 of the markers to put a level 3 card named Lucifer from your hand into play. This means potentially as early as level 1 you can have a level 3 on the field that's just keeping field presence throughout the rest of the entire game. It'll absolutely dominate level 1, stand really good at level 2, and when level 3 hits you've already got something on the field swinging for 2 soul. Now obviously something as strong as this does have its downsides. First of all, you're putting down random cards from the top of your deck under this card as a marker. That includes climax cards. If you're really lucky, then you're not going to get any climax cards, and in fact, your climax cards will be even quicker because you're putting cards that aren't climaxes under this card. But if you're not lucky, you could get 2 or 3 climaxes under him, and if you have to deck refresh while those are under him, what are you going to do? This second effect is also really useless if you're keeping field control. This almost encourages you not to run a deck that has good field control and just to focus on straight soul damage, which is pretty cool in my opinion, but it is a little strange to play with. Now the real question is Lucifer worth it? I kinda count Hibiki and Lucifer as one card because they're really useless without each other. The main problem with Lucifer is if you don't get his effect off and you do have to play him as a straight up level 3 play, then he gets no effects. He is a level 3 vanilla. If you do get his effect off though, your opponent is in some serious trouble. You're playing the rest of the game with a 13,000 beat stick who swings for 2 soul damage, and if his damage is cancelled, they take 1 damage anyway, just like you're triggering the burn climaxes all day, every day. When you're building a deck around this series, figuring out whether or not you're going to take the gamble on this effect is absolutely essential. Gallant Beauty Makoto is a rare case. It's a level 0 that has Super Encore. Not only that, but its first effect makes it a pretty awesome level 1 play. Heck, maybe even a level 2 play for getting really unlucky. Super Encore in a level 0 is debatably a really broken effect. I personally really enjoy using it, and I'll tell you why. To play a card onto the field, you have to get rid of 1 card in your hand. If you have 5 cards in your hand, then you're getting rid of 1, and you now have 4 cards in your hand, and your field advantage went up by 1. Level 0, you're clocking your level 2s and your level 3s because they're pretty worthless right now in the game. However, if you're using her to swing for damage and stock every turn, then you could easily just discard the level 2s and 3s or useless event cards in your hand. This makes Makoto an incredible wall, even if you're not using her first effect. And hey, it even kinda combos with Hibiki. We have another great blue 0 in the form of Fumi. I predict that Fumi will be one of the most played and most expensive cards in the set, and that's only going to get more true as time goes on. Her assist effect really isn't that great. During your opponent's turn, your middle slot gets an extra 1000 boost, which is pretty good early game, kinda useless late game. But her second effect is ridiculous. Ridiculous. I know at first glance it looks kind of dumb, like, oh, you just pay one stock and draw one card and discard a card, but drawing's good, but it doesn't even increase your hand size. The thing that makes it so awesome is the fact that it's repeatable. That means if you have to get climaxes out of your stock, this guarantees you can get the climaxes, no problem, and you're getting a really good effect out of it. You're controlling your hand. That kind of effect is good any point of the game, especially since stock is so hard to get rid of at level 0. Alcor is going to be a really interesting staple card. His effect creates pluses like mad. His climax combo not only searches one, but two characters to put into your hand. They have to be the two different characters listed on the card, Yamato and Hibiki, but Yamato and Hibiki are going to be your main beaters anyway, so it's pretty much just putting two of your main beaters in your hand for one stock and a climax. Whether or not people figure out how to use this card to its full potential, I think will be the deciding factor in whether or not Devil Survivor is going to be topping any tournaments anytime soon. Speaking of good beaters, EO is amazing. See, she gets plus 1000 every time one of your other characters attacks, which means if you're keeping up a full field, she's a natural 8000 every single turn. Not only that, but she's got a form of Encore. Some people are going to be really disappointed that it's not the Super Encore that discards from your hand, it's the one that gives you 1 damage, but in fact, I think that's even better. That means you can keep her alive forever and you don't even lose hand advantage. That sounds pretty awesome to me. This event card here's a pretty interesting case. Because the deck is blue-yellow, obviously there are going to be some assassins in the yellow. However, this blue event here makes assassinations a lot easier. It gives plus 4000 power to one of your characters until the end of your opponent's turn. That means not only is your character going to be able to assassinate anything at once, but it's also going to stay alive one more turn. Another really good thing about it is even though you have to have either Yamato or Hibiki in play to use it, you don't have to give the boost to one of those two characters. You can give it to anybody. All in all, I think it's pretty great, but we'll see what happens. One other event I want to look at is Dead Face Video. I think this card is super powerful, especially in a deck type like this. Reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a climaxin, you're pretty much just paying 2 stock to kill one of your characters. But if it isn't, then all of your characters are pretty much invincible until the end of your opponent's next turn. I want to clarify that if it was just one of your characters, this card would be pretty okay, kind of so-so, but the fact that it makes all of your characters invincible until your opponent's next turn is awesome. That means that you can just put a bunch of really weak beat sticks out there, have them be invincible for the turn, and just swing like mad. When your opponent's turn comes up, they'll attack, destroy them, they won't actually be destroyed, and then during your turn you don't have to replace them. I really hope this card climbs in popularity, but I'm afraid people will just dismiss it as another useless event card. Io makes another appearance as a great level 2 beater. She only costs 1 stock, and she's got a pretty awesome climax effect. If you pull off her climax combo, then your opponent can't use Encore for the turn, and all of your characters get another plus 2000 power. You're pretty much guaranteeing your opponent's gonna get a field wipe this turn. I actually really like Joe's effect. He doesn't require a climax to pull it off, and it's generally a pretty good way to end the game. It's a pretty straightforward effect. You pay 1, you discard a card, and all of your characters get a 500 boost and a plus 1 soul for the turn. Now, 500 boost is absolutely worthless, especially at this point in the game. But all of your characters getting plus 1 soul, including this card, is pretty much what you're looking for at the end of the game. This also lends itself well for that late game suicide phase where, you know, your opponent's level 3 and you're level 3 and you're just throwing out level 0s like crazy to try to get that last bit of soul damage in. Joe's there to give you some support. Lastly, I'll take a look at one of the set's level 3s. In particular, this set actually has a lot of really great level 3s, and most of them heal. I chose this one though to look at because of its utility potential. Its climax combo is free, and you can get rid of a back row character so you can guarantee a field sweep. You can get rid of a character that costs a lot but doesn't heal. You can clear up an open spot for one of your zeros to poke at, and heck, you can get rid of characters with Encore. Because the rest of the cards are so focused on getting soul really quickly, this is my favorite of the level 3s because it lets the other cards in the deck do their job. From a purely theme-based standpoint, this set is fantastic. It really emulates the feeling of doing everything you think you have to in order to win. It even emulates the idea of risk and reward, of being behind and understanding that you need to make some sacrifices in order to take a chance to win. That being said, from a technical standpoint, this deck will in no way change the meta. One of its first problems is its lack of red. It's kinda sad to say, but decks kinda need red to be competitive in this metagame. Sure, some competitive decks can get away without running it mostly, but for the most part, that means you don't have access to suiciders or door triggers or any of the really good things that come with red. The risk-reward gameplay also makes it really hard to come up with one game-winning for sure strategy. Decks like Decapo and Rewrite and even Sword Art Online can achieve this deck's power without having to make the huge sacrifices or taking the gambles. All in all, if you're tired of the metagame or you just really love the Devil Survivor series, go ahead and pick this set up. The set is a lot of fun to play with and pulls out some really awesome surprise wins. However, if you're not really into Devil Survivor and you're just looking for cards that are going to win you games, you might want to pass over this one. The risk-reward gameplay just isn't worth it. You can find stronger cards in other sets. What'd you think of my first set review? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't be shy. If you have a set you want me to look at next, or if you have an idea for what my next video should be, then you can leave that there too. If you did enjoy it, why not leave me a thumbs up? Those things are really awesome. And last but not least, subscribe to stay up to date on the latest Kudou news. Bye for now.